Hey, what's going on? You're now tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave. Today, we're gonna have a special episode. We're gonna be talking about, coverage over this crazy festival or comic we call Comic Con. So it's a New York Comic Con. It was a pretty wild event. That was my first time actually being able to attend that event, and so attending this event as press was definitely different than going to like any Comic Con or anything that we would go to back in like Rhode Island and stuff. So it was a good time, but it was just like a lot going on, man.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Now, do you know? So I obviously didn't get to go.
Hmm.
But you went for a few days, and I was curious, do you know if this is like how this equates compared to like the San Diego Comic Con? Because I know that's a very large one too.
All right. So yeah, I think that San Diego might be the biggest one.
Hmm.
And I think this comes into like second place. So
Second place.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
Yeah. It
crazy.
looked crazy. I was, obviously following things online, and
Hmm.
the crowds that I was seeing were insane.
Yeah. And I just want to, before I start off, I want to give a big shout out to Kleps over from We Are Critics and his homie MC Ghoul from the Extreme podcast. So that's their new thing that they have for horror going on. And shout
Yeah.
out to Zero Gravity. You know what I mean? I was able to link up with those people and kind of like chill and had a good time because, you know what I mean? I think that the whole thing, what it comes down to is this community. And so we were able to build up this community for, PVD horror. And we've been able to have connections with a lot of cool people. We had Zero on the show before. And
Hmm.
so it was cool finally getting to meet her up close and, kind of talk with her. And we had a good time, and then MC
Nice.
Ghoul and Kleps, definitely cool people. So we're gonna be doing some working, getting together. But we met over at Silver Screams last time, so
Hmm. Yeah.
so it was cool, being able to link up again. And I just want to say I'm sorry to the mistress of the Imaginarium. We weren't able to connect, because she had gone Friday, and
Yeah.
Friday, like I said, was so hectic. And I think you had messaged me and said, "Hey, she's there," and I was just
Yeah.
like, "All right." And then so when I got back to the hotel, I had seen that she had sent a message, and then so I was like, "All right, we'll get together tomorrow." And then so everything just like I said, the panels are just so crazy. It's like everything overlaps, man. So it was just like I didn't
You got to
even
pick and choose your schedule, basically, right?
yeah, so I didn't even get the time to link up with her and talk with her. So I told her next time we're in New York, that's gonna be one of our main stops to make sure we
Yeah.
check in with her. But yeah, the scheduling and everything, like thank God I had looked a few days ahead and I download the app and put everything together in the schedule
Hmm.
to just prepare myself for what I wanted to do. And so it was cool. So that's one main thing. If you're ever gonna go to Comic Con or anything like that for New York or San Diego, get the app and just make your schedule ahead of time because like it'll send you alerts and say, hey, this one's getting ready to start. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, like there's so many fucking panels. Um, I think the first one I attended was on Friday was the Hysteria panel,
Yeah. Yeah. With
and
Bruce
that's
Campbell.
yeah, that's the Bruce Campbell show. So with Anna Camp and Bowen. So that's streaming right now. So they actually let us see the first episode the day before it came out. So
Hmm.
that was cool. It was a good experience. And
How
then
long was the episode?
I want to say it was probably like 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not bad. Um, actually came home. I got one episode left. There's only 6 episodes in the season, but it was cool because the whole cast was there. They had a good time, and they let us know in a little secret that the show's been renewed for season two. And
Nice.
this
Nice.
that usually doesn't happen so fast. You know what I mean? And the show didn't even come out yet, and it was already renewed.
Yeah. So
So
what is it about? Because I know there's like Satanic Panic is a big theme of it.
yeah, Satanic Panic. So it's basically about like kid, a group of kids that's in high school. They're forming a school band, and and so they're like, oh, what can help us stick out? And Satanic Panic is going around in
Hmm.
the community. So that's just how I want to give out about that
Okay.
because it has a lot of different twists and turns. But definitely, if you're into like rock and roll or anything like that, or just any type of like 80s type horror, this is it. And I think that so far, I mean, like, I'm not really a big horror TV show guy,
Yeah, yeah,
And I can't
yeah.
even get into Scream and stuff like that. But for this is definitely, I think it's done well because it feels more like a movie,
Right, right. Yeah, I
So
definitely want to check it out. And if it has elements of Satanic Panic in it, that's like definitely for me because I'm like really fascinated with that shit. So
yeah, definitely it's definitely cool. So like I said, I got one episode left, so I think you'll like it.
nice. So there was the next day you attended a ton of panels that looked really cool. And
Yeah.
I think the first one that you had sent me a photo, you were sitting there and it was you were looking at Mike Flanagan and Jason Blum, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, it was the Blumfest. So it was pretty cool. It was a really special panel because he was able to bring out so many guests. Like you said, Mike Flanagan being one of them, and he just rattled off. When it all started off, there was a opening video with Kevin Bacon. Just talking to the crowd and everything, saying how much he's looking forward to his film that's coming out, which is The Van. So
Okay.
that's something he's working on for Blumhouse. And it's so like I said, like Blumhouse has 10 projects that's releasing,
Yeah.
and so it's gonna be nuts. Uh Definitely was a good time. So yeah, he the van's gonna come out. Mike Flanagan kind of talked a little bit about, directing the new Exorcist movie and stuff like
Yep.
that. So that was cool to kind of like hear him.
Did now just yesterday or the day before,
Mm.
Mike Flanagan just announced, well, they just announced that he's going to be directing a 8 episode Amazon show
Okay.
about on Carrie. Is that
All right.
part of Blumhouse? Did they talk about that at
I
all?
don't think that's part of Blumhouse.
Okay.
So he didn't touch on anything on like that. But
Yeah.
so he was there and he was kind of just talking and kind of filling in for some of the people that weren't there to talk about some films and stuff like that. So one he had mentioned what he was a big fan of was Black Phone 2, and he's looking forward to that, with him being friends with Joe Hill and everything
Yeah.
like that. So that's going to be released on October 17th. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to because I was a big fan of the first one. So, you know, I
Did
think
he talk about Exorcist?
he just touched on it and just being able to how the first film kind of like, scared him and how he's able to kind of direct this new project. So,
I think it was
nothing.
a safe bet not to talk about it too much because I know it's so like people are
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
protective of the original and how that
Yeah.
last one kind of like hit people. So
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think that, we all said that if there was anybody that can save it, I think that he could do something.
absolutely.
So, um
You
also,
gotta tell us about the Wolfman trailer.
oh, the Wolfman trailer. Yeah, so that released and so he talked with the director. He came out and kind of talked about it. This is definitely one of the main Blumhouse films that I'm looking forward to because when I seen that trailer, I actually seen the trailer before. I don't know if it was like a shorter trailer, but like
Mhm.
this one is like really cool. I think the effects and everything in it are done well. So, I think you'll enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I got they just like I was able to check out the trailer shortly after you had seen it, and
No, okay.
yeah, it definitely looks like something. We're gonna have a lot of werewolf movies. It looks like coming up. So
Yeah. So like that's at the top of the list also. So
yeah.
it looks good.
So
And
what else did they talk about? Because like you said, they got so many releases coming out.
yeah, so then Mike Flanagan kind of like talked about Five Nights at Freddy's too because that was a big film in his household. His kids love
Oh yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's. So he had talked a little bit about that. They had pulled out the poster. So that was the first time that people seen the poster. It was kind of funny though because Jason announced the poster. They put it on the screen, and then so it's kind of it made us feel. It made me feel like I was back at home when we announced that we're doing like a Friday the 13th movie people don't enjoy. So the crowd really didn't make any noise
Oh
about it.
no.
And so he goes, "Wait a minute, this is the cover. This is the poster." And everybody's like,
Oh
"Okay." And then
no.
there's a little delayed clap and
Yeah.
stuff, but um, I guess people just probably wanted a better poster. You know what I mean? But uh,
The thing that I'll say is like there's so many great name like films named films being dropped, but
Hmm.
Blumhouse does unfortunately have to make up a little ground that they've lost with some of the films that I think we were a little excited about that maybe didn't turn out the way we wanted them to. So
Definitely.
hopefully 2025 will be a good year for Blumhouse. I'm
Mm,
hopeful, but we will see.
yeah. So Five Nights at Freddy's, that was the biggest, grossing horror film of last year. So
Yeah.
that was big. So that's part two is coming December 5th, 2025. So,
Yep.
I think that a lot of the kids would be ready for that again, so
Wow. Think about this. Think about those names. Black Phone 2 coming out next year.
hmm
Five Nights at Freddy's coming out next year. I think The Exorcist is planning on coming out next year.
I think so, yeah. They didn't give a
Wolf
release date.
Wolfman
Man,
earlier in the year. And
yeah.
then I mean just movies that are already established that people are looking forward to. And then Megan 2.0.
Yeah, Megan,
That's
they announced Megan 2.0. They had the actress come out that played the sister and also she's the actress in
uh-huh.
Get Out. So
Okay.
she kind of talked about how working with Jordan Peele and everything like that and also working with Megan, like saying how like it's a real prosthetic doll, like how just
Yeah.
being in front of that doll was just so creepy at times. Like even during like breaks, they had to like stop to like lube her eyes up and stuff like that. And it was so funny because
Gross.
somebody was like, "What the hell is she got to lube her eyes for?" So he's like, "Oh, so she has to blink. She really blinks and stuff." So
Jeez.
it was a cool panel, So
Uh,
that's coming
um
out.
Allison Williams.
Yeah,
They had her there. Wow.
yeah, she came out
Oh, that's
and
wild.
what else was it? Yeah, Megan, they put Megan up on a jumbo screen and she kind of said a message to the crowd, so, and then it started to glitch. So at times like I couldn't really hear it because it was like "Meh, eh, ah," and like a doll
Yeah.
malfunctioning. So yeah, so that's coming out in what in the hell was that?
June.
June, yeah, June 27th,
Yeah.
2025. So looking forward towards for that. And there's a new film called Drop. I think that's going to be sick. That's going to be a sick movie that everybody should have on their list because I think that's the thing. Blumhouse, like you said, they have a lot of ground to make up, but
Yeah.
I think that Drop is going to be a crazy film that's releasing on April 11th. So it's kind of like AirDrop. So on the phone you can
Hmm.
AirDrop like pictures and shit like that. So that's what this film is about, where it's just like the trailer kind of just shows like this mom out like on a date, you know what I mean? And she just gets this airdrop on her phone, and then it's telling her not to say something to the date because if she does, the her kids are gonna die
Oh,
or the
jeez.
babysitter is gonna die. And
Yeah.
then so it starts to go through this whole thing of like, oh, but you have to be in the same area to airdrop. And then, but this airdrop's coming, like the video signal showing her house. They're like sending her videos of like her kids and the babysitter and shit like that. So we're in for a ride. That's gonna be a ride right there.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm
Any
looking
any
forward
big
to it.
names attached to that film or
Shit, I don't even think so. I think that everybody that's in this film is, I think that this is gonna be one of their first projects. They came, a few people came out, but I didn't recognize them.
okay. Cool.
Yeah, so, but yeah, drop. So April 11th, put that on
Hmm.
your calendar. Also, he was talking about James, was talking about Jason. Sorry, Jason was talking about video game, dropping a video game. So Fear the Spotlight, that's gonna actually released today, October 22nd. So he kind of talked about how he got into video games and stuff like that and why he decided to make the type of video game he made. It's more of a retro feel video game, not like anything that's new. So quick edit. Um yeah, so he made a video game that he wanted to make. And so I think that's cool. We see a lot of people starting to go down different paths. So to kind of explore, to kind of get into the different audiences. I think that that's the right thing because with getting like Five Nights and Freddy's into their catalog
Yeah.
and then making their own video games, I think that if the video game does well, maybe that can turn into something, another film. So,
Yeah, that opens up a lot of doors right there.
yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah, we messed up actually. The first panel you went to was Dune, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first panel was Dune. That was a crazy panel because I'm a big fan of the movies. Have you seen the
I've
both
seen the
films?
first one. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Have you read the books?
No,
Yeah.
I have them, but I haven't read them. They're too big.
Nah.
Nah, just kidding. I just haven't got to them.
Nah, but that was a cool panel also. That's for HBO. So they're gonna have a series that's gonna be releasing on HBO. And what caught my attention about that panel was, well, I liked the movies, but another thing that caught my attention was that each episode's gonna have like a different like genre theme, and they had stated that we're gonna have a horror themed
Huh.
episode, and so I was like, oh shit, I think that'll be cool, you know what I mean? Because like to see that just like a darker tone episode than what we're used to getting on like in the movies and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, all right, I'm down for it. So it was cool. It was a cool experience. So I'm definitely looking out for that. So Dune Prophecies, that's gonna be streaming on HBO Max. So actually, I think it's just Max now, right? They
Yeah,
got rid
just
of the
Max.
HBO.
Is that next year?
Yeah, that's gonna be next year.
Okay. All right.
So
That's cool.
yeah. So back to the Blumhouse, there was another film that was gonna be coming out. There was what was it? Woman in the Yard. That's gonna release on March 28th.
Okay.
So I think that that's gonna be something special. It's kind of I think it'll be similar to like the film that just released that had Holly Berry in it.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be something like that.
Yeah. Woman in
And
the Yard. Not the best title.
yeah, but it has that feel,
Well,
you know.
definitely a woman in the
So
yard.
yeah, and he talked about and Jason talked about his relationship with James Wan and how Atomic Monster and Blumhouse kind of create those films, you know what I mean? So to come to merge together. So I think it was cool, you know what I mean? I think he put it out there and says, you know, the best thing about their relationship is that they're totally different. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of helps, you know, everything a little bit because it's like if they don't agree on something, they'll both kind of put their heads together and figure something out to make it work. So
Nice.
yeah, so I think it's cool. So I'm big fans of both of them. So hey, I'm looking forward to everything they have going on.
When I went to Halloween Horror Nights this last month, the Blumhouse scare zone was probably my favorite part because and like the scare zones are just a bunch of actors walking around,
Mm,
but it was cool to see all the different, like, it really kind of made me realize, wow, Blumhouse has this little like collection of characters that of like
yeah,
horror characters, and I know it's not like to the level of Freddy's and Michael Myers or even like Art the Clown right now, but it's cool because you got like Megan, you got the the new show that just came out, Teacup. They had that character there.
no, okay.
They had the guy from Black Phone. They had Happy Death Day guy. It was cool. It kind of made me realize, wow, Blumhouse really does, like, we people definitely give Blumhouse a hard time, but they have
Yeah.
their own little like collection of characters that I think people really enjoy. So that was one of the cooler scare zones there.
And to be honest with you, like I said all the time, I think that it's like they have their target audiences. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
think
it's
that
definitely a
because now a
younger.
lot of it's all like PG-13. So I think
Yeah.
that like, you know, we can know everybody like around our age and a little bit older can shit on it. But just think about it when you were a kid, you know what I mean? And you were 13 years old and you couldn't get into R-rated films. It was just like that's what you could get into with your friends, you know what I mean? And go and
Yeah.
have a good time. So these are the films that are being made for these
Please.
kids, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, we were going to see like Halloween Resurrection.
Oh no,
That's
yeah.
like an
We were.
equivalent of a Blumhouse film. So
We were, but I'm saying like if like
no,
certain
I mean, but
teens,
I'm saying like that, like today, looking at that film, it's kind of like that's the equivalent of a Blumhouse film. It's like, but that
mm,
was good enough for us because that's what we, at the time we were like, I'm just glad to be seeing a horror movie. So
yeah. And it
yeah,
was crazy, you know, they had a lot of stars there, you know what I mean? So in between time, like the panels and everything, I was making my way around the floors, checking out everybody's cosplays. So they had a lot of sick cosplays there. I seen this cool like Blair Witch one, and
yeah, yeah,
there was a bunch of Art the Clowns walking around.
of course, yeah.
Bob's. But there was a lot of people that's creative, you know what I mean? Seeing like a black Freddy Krueger. So, and he was just like, hold on, he's back, but I'm black. And I was
Oh my
just like,
God.
it was it's just cool to see everyone just become creative and just kind of go out and just have a good time for fandom because that's what it's all about. Because it was funny because when I had gotten to and like got into town, I had taken an Uber and the lady was like, "All these people are crazy dressing up." Yeah, I'm just like, "Hey, they're having a good time. They're just being themselves and they
Yeah, yeah.
love things." So she's like, "I don't know. I just need to get out of here."
Oh
So,
my God. Yeah, it was
but
funny because I kept telling you like, oh, so and so's there, so and so's there, and like I
mm,
don't think I was getting like what the scope of the
yeah,
logistics was there. So
yeah.
like the odds of you running into any of these people was pretty
Dude,
slim.
it was hard, man. It was just so packed in there. You know what I mean? I was just like overwhelmed. I was telling you because I'm just like walking and then I'm just like people aren't caring. They're just like banging into each other and shit. And you
Everybody's
got
in their
people,
own world.
yeah, and you got people not caring, be like straight up like smelling like they shit their pants and shit. I'm just like,
Jeez,
dude,
yeah.
man, like really? I'm like, you just like fart right there like that. I'm just like, damn, like these motherfuckers don't care. And then you have people that weren't like putting deodorant on.
Yeah.
It was just a
For
hard
some of
thing.
them, it was probably the first time they left their house in the year. So
Dude, I'm like, oh man, so many smells and so many people back to back. I'm like, oh,
there should be some kind of like criteria. If you're going to go in, you have to use deodorant at least.
ah, man, it was bad. Um, But yeah, so back onto some good things. There was a lot of, famous guests in town,
Hmm.
celebrities and stuff like that. I got a picture with Jack Quaid, so you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was a cool guy.
Yeah.
A lot of fans. Everybody there, they just recognize him for like from like The Boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but played Richie and Scream. So yeah, so it was cool. The guy before me, he was getting his Ghostface mask signed. He goes, "Oh yes, finally!" Like I think that was probably his first Ghostface mask that he
Yep.
signed for the day. And then after that, I met Swerve Strickland. He's a AEW wrestler. You know, what I mean, he used to be in WWE, but went over to AEW. He has better opportunities over there. Became the first, African American champion, and he's a big horror fan because that was one thing that I had found out like a couple months ago because he was talking about it in an interview with about Bray Wyatt that passed away,
Hmm. Yep.
and he was talking about his love for horror, and so like I had talked to him. I was like, hey man, so I had no idea like you were this big horror fan and stuff like that. I was like, what was the first movie that like kind of like fucked you up? And he was just like, I think you'll be a fan of this, Dave. He goes, oh man, the first film that fucked me up had to be Saw. I was like, I'm like, oh
Nice.
yeah. And he goes, yeah, it was just something about like those kills and stuff like that that just
Yeah.
fucking like gripped me. And then I was just like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. I think that everybody has like their own experiences and
Yep.
stuff like that. So I think that was cool. You know what I mean? Being able to kind of like talk a little bit of horror with him at the
Yeah.
convention. So yeah, so
Yeah.
those
That's
are
cool.
two of the main people I met at the convention for celebrity wise. So, but other than that, like, you know what I mean? Like I said, everything was like so time crunching for time. So then right after that, I was like right back to the panels and what was it? Shit. So
You got to
another
tell us about the Shutter one.
yeah, Shutter was the last panel that I did
Oh,
before
okay.
I left. So that was a really good panel where Sam Zimmerman, friend of the show,
That's awesome. Yeah.
he was hosted the panel and they brought out some special guests. So Flying Lotus was in the house.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Flying Lotus was there. Tina Romero. Kate Siegel and Devin Sawa, I think he was a last minute replacement. And then David Desmalchin,
Yep.
right? That's,
Yep.
that's how you say his name,
Pretty much.
Desmalchin.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there we go. It's all right, but it was a pretty cool panel. They announced a few films that'll be coming out. So definitely be on the lookout for another Flying Lotus film that's going to
Hmm.
be called Ash. They dropped the trailer for that. And so he talked basically about how, music and how music and making films kind of like help him throughout his life and everything like that, and how to balance both of them and stuff like that. So I think that was pretty cool, you know what I mean? Because you don't really hear much from Flying Lotus, and you know what I mean, he's kind of
Yeah.
like he's a laid back dude, kind of chill. So,
Hmm.
but he's never out there. It's like if you hear from him, you're watching him visit the visuals or like just his music, So just seeing him being able to kind of like talk on the panel, um, he was saying how what horror how horror affected him was kind of like how we talk about like the art box covers and stuff like that,
Yeah, yeah.
and how Freddy's Revenge, the cover of that artwork fucked him up, and
Really?
how his mom was a big fan of Freddy Krueger, and so it was it was cool because he would sit there and say he didn't watch him at first, but he could hear it from his mom's room, which
Yeah,
fucked him up a little bit more. So
yeah.
I think that was cool, man.
Gives
You
you
know what I
that
mean?
intrigue. You want to know what she's seeing.
Yeah. And then
That's
so
cool.
Tina, like I said, Tina Romero was there. She's working on it. She's gonna release a new film called Queen of the Dead. So,
Yeah.
she said, it's gonna be a little bit different from her father's work. Her zombies' blood's gonna have a little bit more glitter in it.
Oh
So,
boy.
yeah, so it was cool kind of being able to hear her talk about, the time spent with her father and stuff like that when she told her dad that she was gonna try to make these films and stuff, and he pushed her into doing it. So
That's awesome.
yeah. And then there was another few movies announced that they're gonna have. So there's one called Dark Match. It's a horror wrestling movie. So basically, if you're not a wrestling fan and you're a horror fan, a dark match is basically, like at the end of the wrestling, like when wrestling goes off the air, usually like a few other wrestlers come out and they'll have a wrestling match that's not on air. So I'm thinking it's gonna have to do with something like that. So, I mean, we'll see, but they
Okay.
didn't really give much to it. They didn't give much to it, so they were just saying, "Hey, if you're a wrestling fan," and I think that right now is the right time because I think wrestling's at its highest peak right now. You know what I mean? So I think the crossover and everything would be really cool, and I think people
Yeah.
will enjoy it. Um, and they announced that VHS 8 is coming in 2025. And get this, Sam stated that this is going to be the scariest tapes yet.
Okay. Why eight?
That's what me and Zero was saying that we were like, is there a title? Is there a title? And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess no, I guess they're not going with like the little runoff title. I think they're just
They're not
going
doing
right
like
back to
90,
eight.
yeah, 96 or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just we're gonna go
So
back. All right.
yeah, so and we were just talking about this
Wait,
the other day.
none of them actually have a number after them. There's viral, VHS viral. There's I can't remember if the what was the second one? Was that viral?
Nah, the second one's two.
Is it VHS 2?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
just
So that's the only
VHS
other
and
one that
VHS two, and
has
then yeah, then it goes to viral.
yeah. All right.
So yeah,
Cool.
so we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. But we kind of talked about this the other day, how these VHSs just come on. You know what I mean? And it's just like no rhyme, no reason, no storyline connected to it, kind of like the first few.
Yep.
And so I hope that they kind of fall back into doing that because, you know what I mean? Like the first one was, the kids broke into that house looking for VHS tapes and they were just like putting them in and then just like
Hmm.
random shit was coming on because they're watching these videos and they're actually looking for like a certain tape, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's
So essentially, you like the wraparound story was
yeah.
part of the film itself, and that's
Yeah.
missing in some of these newer ones. So I'd love to see that again.
Hmm.
It does like you go. I think the wraparound film helps just because it like gives you a moment to adjust after you watch
Mm.
one of the segments and then you go into the next. When you just go, because I'll never forget, I forget the one that Flying Lotus did. Like you go from one segment, then all of a sudden
Hmm.
there's like these army toy men, and it's just like
Yeah.
a weird transition, versus like having that little wraparound story to like kind of adjust you. So yeah, I would love to see that again.
Yeah. Because it's like it's starting to fall into that line where it's like you don't even know which one that you
Yeah,
watched anymore now.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? Like when you try to recommend like a segment to somebody, you're just like, shit, which one was that? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's hard to kind of get it back together. So hopefully, what I mean, they fall back in line with that. That's one thing that I
Yeah.
wish that they do with that.
with that being said, I will always welcome a new VHS, and
Oh,
I'm always
definitely.
gonna have a little excitement. So glad that they're still keeping this going for
Uh,
next year.
And that's one thing. I'm happy because, I'm a big fan of Wrong Turn, and that's what Wrong Turn had turned into. Each October there would be a new
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
coming out, and you'd be like, oh shit, here it is. Oh, here it is.
yeah.
And like, I don't have that anymore. And so I think we lost that for a while. And so seeing them bring, you know, VHS back like this, I think it's pretty cool.
That's the thing about horror fans is like non-horror fans will laugh and be like, "Oh, what is it like Hellraiser 25?" Like they make fun of
Yeah.
how many like installments
Mhm.
there are of franchises. Meanwhile, we're like, "Oh, I freaking love that."
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I love the more installments the better. Because yeah, it just gives me more to watch of whatever that is that I love. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
keep
then
that
so
going.
And like I said too, the one of the guests that were there, so like I said, Devin Sauer, he was not on the list to be there, so it was like a last minute fill-in. And so in his portion of things, he they were able to talk about Chucky, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it kind of gave people the impression that, Chucky's not done because everybody on the panel was just like, he's not done. Chucky's probably gonna be back. He's gonna come back again. He's an icon. So I don't know. Like we talked about it before, like when we were at Terracon that night
Yeah.
and they announced that the show was being canceled. A lot of people were like, send it to Shutter, send it to Shutter, send it to Shutter. So I don't know. I think Shutter might definitely pick that shit up. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
other than that,
Yeah,
like why was Devin Sawa there?
that's a great point.
Why was he there? You know what I mean? And he kind of like talked about, a good question was brought up. They had asked him that they were like, how did it feel being like so many characters on that TV show? And so he had stated that, I was only like signed on for the first season. It was supposed to be one and done. And then like his character died off, like had died, got killed off and everything. And so from there, they had called him back for the second season and said, "Hey, all right, let's bring you back." And he was saying he was preparing to kind of like play that same role again, like if it was
Yeah.
gonna play some like past scenes or anything like that or some older footage. And they was just like, all right, nope, here you go. And he was like, shit, I was a whole new person. And then that's just been the running joke of his character during that show.
He's
So just
constantly
becoming,
playing someone else. Yeah.
yeah, so and then so he was saying like he had worked with so many big names in the company, I mean in the film industry, but when they brought Chucky out, he got like starstruck. He goes, "There he is! Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
Chucky!" So that was a pretty cool panel, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
seeing all that stuff. And then after I had seen like fucking Joe Bob was in the house, but he wasn't there. He wasn't in the panel. So I think he's probably just
Huh.
in the back chilling with people,
He's
but
hanging out.
kind of
Yeah.
shocked he didn't come out, you know?
Yeah. That is shocking. He is
Yeah.
like he's the face of Shutter at this point.
Yeah. So
So
he should
that's
have he
wild.
should he should have been there. But
I
I
was surprised when we had like posted on social media about Chucky getting canceled. I was actually surprised to see how many people were like split. It
mm,
was a lot of like love, but then it was a lot of hate. And I was actually shocked because I thought everybody loved the Chucky show. And I know
yeah.
me and you have talked about it, like we have a hard time kind of keeping up with shows.
Hmm.
So like we both haven't really been following it as closely. There was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, well, that's fine," or it needed to end. And then other people were like, "No, why would they end it? Like that sucks." So it's kind of interesting how divided it was.
But it's so crazy though, because and I even said it like when I look back at it, there like you said, there was a lot of split decisions of like how people felt or whatever, but this last season that just ended was the best season
Yeah,
did
that's why I was
number
so
that did
surprised by that.
the
Yeah,
numbers did well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it was like right there. So it was kind of odd for like USA or in
to cancel.
sci-fi to like cancel something when it's at its highest numbers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it doesn't make any sense. And like a few people were just like, wow, like see the USA network, this is why you don't get any love from anyone. But I wonder like what happened. Like did Scare Tactics take half of that budget? Because they're on Scare Tactics on
that
USA.
new Jordan Peele
Yeah.
produced one.
But let's be honest, shows like that really don't last too long. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Eventually, they end up on Sci-Fi and reruns for 20 years, and
And,
nobody
and that's the
watched.
and that's the thing though. They're known for having just reruns because like I'll watch wrestling or something and that comes on USA.
Followed
But
by Burn Notice or
yeah,
like
and
some
then
show like that.
and before wrestling comes on every week, it's an old episode of Law and Order.
Yeah, or
You know what I
Monk.
mean? Like, yeah, so why wouldn't you want something new, Monk? Why wouldn't you want something new and fresh
I
that'll keep
know.
people coming to your channel and shit?
Or do some crossovers like Tony Shalhoub and Chucky on an episode. You got Monk and Chucky. You
Well,
could
let's
have
be
some great stuff there.
Monk and Chunky. But let's be real, man, because let's like in January, USA is losing WWE Monday Night Raw, and that's going to be a big hit.
Hmm.
Raw's going to Netflix. It's going to be live on Netflix.
Wow.
And so that was a $15 million deal. So now it's like, why
So
would you?
people who don't have Netflix aren't gonna be able to watch Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, you gotta buy
Wow.
subscription now to get Monday Night Raw.
I don't know how to break that to every individual I work with at a group home. They
Yep,
freaking
if you want to
love
watch Monday
wrestling.
Night Raw, you gotta
We're
get a
gonna make sure they have
subscription.
household subscriptions, or we're gonna have some real issues at those houses.
So I'm saying like you're gonna be watching old episodes of Chucky.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I would say most of the individuals I have work with have in common is they all love wrestling.
Nah, well, that's the thing, man. Horror and wrestling's been going hand in hand. So I don't
Yeah.
know. If I think if you would watch it now, I think you would enjoy it because the characters they have and the storylines and
Oh
shit,
yeah.
kind
Seems
of
like
like
it's something.
uh, yeah, it's at its best right now. So and I haven't watched it in a long time, but it definitely got me back into it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so definitely
All right.
wrestling fans,
So
look out for Dark Match.
tell us this, Brandon. New York Comic Con. You went. You
Hmm.
had a few days there. You absorbed all this. You got to run into people. You got to do
Hmm.
these panels. Would you do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now I know what I'm getting myself into. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a whole different world, man. It's just like just being on the move. It's like I said, for 1 minute I'm in this panel, I'm in the next panel, and I just found myself in like the 25 years of SpongeBob panel, which was fucking nuts. And it's like to look at it and look back at it, I'm like, damn, SpongeBob's been out for 25 years.
Wild. It's wild.
It was cool too, so I was able to see them do some of the voice acting. They did like a few
Nice.
of the Halloween episodes. So I'm the Flying Dutchman. No, I'm the Flying Dutchman.
Oh my God.
Man, it just brought me back to us working in the group home when I had to
Yeah.
talk like SpongeBob and everybody for the
Yeah.
fucking kids to kind of chill them out. Like, not my buddy buddies, no. But that was one thing I think that's one calling that I missed. It might sound a little weird to people, but
Voice acting.
the voice, no, I'm saying like because when I'm talking right now, it's not probably not coming in too clear because I'm like not really like trying hard, but voice acting was something like that I'm good at, but I just never knew how to get into it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, fuck, I wish I could because like sometimes when we worked in a group home, like I can like mimic anything like one of
I
the kids said, and then like if a staff wasn't like in the same room as me, they
they
would
would think it
think
was
that was
them.
the
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
And
I'll
they're like,
forever hear you say Mr. Noodle in my head.
Mr.
Mr.
Noodle. Yeah, yeah, but that shit is it was just wild, you know what I mean? So it was just like seeing them being able to do that type of shit was just like, wow, like I could be getting paid for doing this type of
Yeah,
shit. This
yeah, isn't
guy,
that wild?
oh my God,
I've been thinking about that since like The Simpsons, and you would see
man.
like the girl that did Bart's voice for a while, and
Yeah.
that's wild that's their job. Just
Oh yeah.
that stuff. It's awesome.
I'm like, shit.
Mr.
Then they had
Kong.
a Walking Dead panel too. I fell on that for like 5 minutes and left. You know what I mean?
Who was there?
Negan,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
a lot of the new people. What was it?
They didn't have
Glenn.
Daryl, did they?
Yeah, he was there because they were promoting his show too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they were splitting it up a little bit, but Chris Jericho was the host of the show. So
Jericho's getting everywhere nowadays.
yeah, I went into that one late, so I missed my opportunity to sit in the front, and so I was sitting there. It was packed up. Plus, I guess it wasn't in like that biggest the biggest room.
Yeah,
So people were kind of talking about that how
they
Walking
kind of
Dead,
misguessed that. Yeah.
yeah, how Walking Dead would have that whole convention in the headlock and have those main Empire rooms upstairs.
I'm
They didn't even have that room. They had the bottom floor.
I'm gonna say this, and like this goes against kind of previous conversations we had. I think Walking
Mm.
Dead's making itself a little bit of a comeback. I watched the season with the what is it, the ones who survive, or the one with Michonne and Rick. I watched
Yeah.
that. I actually really enjoyed that. I
Mm.
mean, I'm and now I'm planning on getting into the Daryl one because it kind of
Okay.
resurged me a little bit. I was like, and I fell off, so I didn't actually finish the regular Walking Dead like final two seasons, I think. But I don't even
Mm.
care. I'm like, I feel like these little spin-offs might like resurge that a little bit. That
Yeah,
was like that
I
was
can
like
see that.
really a really big part of a lot of our lives for a while. The
It
Walking
was
Dead.
for a while, and then it was just like I think like the season after Negan is when I kind of fell off because I
Yeah,
remember that was our main thing. Like we would all go to those conventions, like the
yeah,
Chiller,
yep.
and I think Monster
Monster
Mania
Mania,
too. I
yeah.
think they had a few of them,
I remember
and
we met Carl at one of the Monster Manias when he was
yeah,
like a kid. I mean, I look back at that photo and I'm like, damn, he was like a kid. It's crazy.
yeah,
And then we saw him
Herschel,
at like, was it Terracon last year or something like that, or one of the cons. And he's like an
yeah,
adult now. He's a full grown adult.
yeah. So they
Herschel,
might, yeah,
yeah,
they
rest in
might make a
peace.
comeback, but I don't know. I was like, it was hard for me. Like even I tried to go back and like get into it, but it was hard. But I was big. I'm a big fan of the Telltale video games, though, of The Walking Dead, like
Yep.
the choices one,
Hmm.
so that you make. I think that was cool. There's another TV show, What We Do in the Shadows. Are you a big fan of that show?
I really do like that. I haven't finished all the episodes, but I love that humor in there. That's like
Mm.
right up my alley.
All right, so that was the thing. It was like for me, I never got into the TV show, but I seen the movie.
Okay.
So I watched the movie, and then when I was at the panel, they played two of the episodes. So this is the final season that's getting ready to come up, and so
Hmm.
I was sitting there, I was like, "Oh, this shit's actually funny."
It is.
So I had came back home and I had started like the first season and stuff, and I was just sitting there laughing. So I'm gonna definitely finish it.
The emotional vampire guy. He just
Uh,
drains
the
everybody.
dream.
I love
He's like,
it.
"Yeah, I do this for fun," and then yeah, so there's one episode in the new season that like hey he's just fucking going crazy. So and it was cool, you know what I mean? After they played the episodes, the cast came out and they all talked and stuff and you know they had asked them, you know, how's it going to feel? How's it feeling with this being the last season? And it was just all really emotional, saying like how much they built
Hmm.
with each other and over the years and how hard it's going to be. So if you're a big fan of what we do in the shadows, definitely tune into FX. Hold on, I got like a pretty cool fucking shirt from them too. So it was cool. After the panel was over, they had given me this shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. A little bit more. There you go.
And then on the
Oh,
back right
that's
here
awesome.
has like this
Very cool. Farewell tour.
yeah. So
They were handing those out?
yeah, and people actually for those ones so for I got this Blumfest one too. So I think that they learned their fucking lesson.
Nice.
And on the back they got all the movies that's dropping.
Very cool.
So
Awesome.
after Blumfest, the t-shirts they handed out on that was that was a
Shit
mess
show.
because they were like as everyone's coming out of it. So the thing is with these panels that these big rooms hold so many fucking people. It's nuts. And so when you have people coming out and then like you couldn't even fucking walk. And then so
Yeah.
they're like throwing shirts and stuff and it was bad. And then so what we do in the shadows was the next panel after. They actually just had the shirts on the table, just like sitting there. And I had gone out because I was like, all right, like I had to get to my next panel.
Hmm.
So I seen them on the tables, and so I was like, all right. I was like, I get a shirt because I was just in there, and it was like, yeah, you're good. So I grabbed a shirt, and then and then I left, and then when I was coming back upstairs again, people were like losing their fucking minds because they had those shirts on the table that people would just snatch and like five of them or 10 of them at a
Wow. Yeah, of
time, you know.
course.
So it
Of
turned bad.
course.
So a lot of people that were leaving that panel didn't get a shirt. So, man. I was just like, damn, you see, I think you can't do things like that. And I think that's one thing that one guy that I was talking to about, he said, you know, there's a lot of things that New York needs to kind of like work on that San Diego has down packed, you
Hmm.
know. So I guess San Diego has their things, they do their things one way, and I guess New York does theirs another.
Yeah.
But I think it's just all testing. You know what I mean? You never know how things are gonna go. So I just want to say honestly, shout out to all the workers, on these conventions and these cons and stuff because that shit's not easy, man. With all those people in that building,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
have been like, I'm not feeling good today. This ain't worth it for the
I
next
know. You
day. You
think
know what I mean?
you think about like the cons that we've gone to in September this year, the horror cons, it's
Yeah.
like not even a quarter of what
Mm-mm.
that is. And like, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and you have so many people just trying to do their job, like telling people to get online and shit, and you got people giving them shit, and
Hmm.
I don't know, man.
It's a
But
tough job.
all overall, like I said, I had a good time. I would do it again. So I did 2 days out of the four. Ah, shit. I don't know. Like there was one day I wish I could have stayed for Saturday because Ty West was gonna be there.
That's right.
I missed it, so
That was the panel right there.
I don't know what he was gonna be there for. You know what I mean? So I don't know what
Uh-huh.
panel. I know he was just there because it was kind of like weird too because I wondered why like I told you when I was walking downstairs, I was like, yo, Bruce Campbell just walked by me. And then it
Yeah.
wasn't announced that he was gonna be there or anything. I'm like, what the fuck? He just walked by me. He was like that, well, you know how he is, but he's just so fucking weird. He thinks he's like Elvis and shit. He's like
Yeah.
this, like moving. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And him walking with his security. And then I had gone upstairs and then he was in that panel. So
Yeah.
like, oh shit. So I don't
Hmm.
know why Ty West was there. And then so that's why I was saying too. I didn't know why Mike Flanagan was been gonna be there, but he was part of Blumfest. So
Yep. Yep. And I didn't hear anything about Ty West, so I guess maybe the next few days we'll see if anything else comes out.
yeah, I was in the fucking Sony thing too. So they announced all their fucking movies that's gonna be coming up. So remember that movie Craven that they wanted us to kind of like
Hmm.
do? That movie's nuts. The main actor of that came out. They showed like the first 10 minutes of that movie. That is a dark ass Marvel movie. So
Okay, yeah.
that's a
Yep. I,
fucking dark
I I
ass.
did watch the trailer to it a while ago or
Yeah,
some clip
nah.
for it or something.
Nah, this shit's gonna be crazy because
Yeah,
even in
yeah.
that 10 minutes, everybody was fucking screaming. The actor came out. It was a cool experience. And then I was just like, fuck, I gotta get out of here because Shutter's getting ready to start. I was like, I can't miss Shutter because
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
like the last one before I was leaving. And then or a little bit after I left, I heard everybody fucking screaming. Fucking Tom Hardy came out for Venom.
Oh,
Yeah. And I was right in
damn.
the front too.
Damn.
But that was the thing too. It was like shout out, like I said, shout out to staff and everybody there. For most of the panels, I was right in the front row, because when you're the press, you get to go right up in the VIP section. So it's like,
It's impressive they got all those people there too, like the celebrities, the actors, the,
oh yeah.
filmmakers. Like
Hmm.
they had somebody representing everything. That's really like great coordination.
Yeah, yeah. They were definitely on top of it. So like I said, shout out to New York Comic Con and all the Comic Con employees and everybody from the bottom up, you know what I mean? From the janitors in this place
Mhm.
and everything, because like I said, the Civic Center is just a fucking crazy place. That place was fucking busy, packed.
Yeah.
So other than that, I look forward to doing it again next year. So
All right. And I mean, we got our own little Comic-Con coming up next weekend, or
yeah,
not this weekend, the following one for
well,
Rhode Island. So,
at least we get a break because it's been late every fucking week
yeah.
something. But so it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's,
kind of a break. We still got stuff to do, but yeah.
it's all right. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, all right. New York Comic Con 2024. That's a great breakdown, Brandon. Thank you for going and reporting back for all of us.
No, no problem.
Appreciate it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you get the opportunity to check out Comic Con next year in New York, I think Brandon is telling you you definitely need to check it out. So be on the lookout for tickets. Did they
Get
sell
your
out? Do you know?
tickets.
Did
Oh
they sell
yeah.
out?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Every fucking day was sold out.
Yeah.
So
All right. So you got
so
to
that's
get your tickets early.
yeah, you gotta get them ahead of
You're
time.
not getting them at the door.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Have a great night. See you later.
Take it easy.